In this video, I'm going to be talking about high school planning to get into college part 2, sophomore year. If you haven't checked part 1 out yet, go do that right now. Part 1 is freshman year, and even if you're past freshman year or it's in the middle of your freshman year, go check that video out anyway, because I can guarantee that it will help you to be ready to come back to this video and get prepared for your sophomore year. So without further ado, let's get started. Evaluate your freshman year. Did you struggle? Was it a piece of cake? Or was it what you expected? Evaluating your freshman year can help you to figure out which classes you should take in sophomore year. If you should go more on the workload because freshman year was super easy, or if you should take some off a little bit. Dial down those accelerated classes because freshman year is a real struggle. Either way, evaluating freshman year will help you out a lot. And not only that, but doing this will also help you figure out which activities were taking up too much of your time or which ones you want to continue. All in all, evaluating how your freshman year went in multiple different aspects will help you when you're starting to plan what your sophomore year is going to look like. Figure out which AP classes you want to take. Sophomore year is when you can start taking AP classes, but you by no means have to. If freshman year was already a lot for you, I would not recommend taking AP classes sophomore year because you might just end up being overwhelmed and end up getting lower grades than you actually want because you took classes that were too hard because you were already stressed during freshman year. That does not make you lazy at all. Some people might think that it does, but that just applies to the people where their freshman year was a complete piece of cake and they just decided to take it easy from there on out because they could. But that's not a good decision, and if your freshman year was pretty easy for you, then I would definitely recommend taking an AP class or two because it shows that you're a hard worker and you like to challenge yourself. But if freshman year was a bit of a struggle for you, if you got mostly B's and C's, then in your sophomore year, if you take regular classes and you get more A's, that is really good and will show colleges that you've improved, even if you didn't take those AP classes that year. Prepare for the SAT early. You usually take your first practice exam during sophomore year, and I honestly would not study for it. I know, the first time anyone's ever told you to not study for something, right? But I wouldn't study for this because this will allow you to test your abilities and see what you need to improve on without studying things you already know. It's just a big waste of time, and this practice test is way before you're going to take any of the real SATs. After the scores come back for the practice exam, you can log into Khan Academy, which is free by the way, and Khan Academy will take your score that you got on the practice exam and give you practice problems on what you actually need to improve on. They'll see which questions you got right and wrong, and they won't give you study material on things you clearly already know. So this helped me a lot because I did better, surprisingly, in the English portion than the math portion. So I did a lot more studying in the math portion, even though normally if I hadn't known that in the beginning, I would have studied a lot more in the English portion because I think I'm pretty good in math, but apparently I needed more improvement in math. So it just made sense to wait until the scores came back, and then Khan Academy could help me study very efficiently. By the way, if you were thinking about taking the ACT, all of this advice still applies in the same way, but your school might not provide ACT practice tests. That's the only real difference. But I would still recommend taking both tests to see which format you like better. Try out new activities. Even though there are most likely new things that you tried during freshman year, whether it's clubs, sports, events, whatever, you most likely didn't love every single one of them. So I encourage you to try new activities. And you don't have to stick with whatever you did in freshman year. You might think, oh, well, colleges like to see commitment, so I just have to stick with what I did during freshman year all 4 years of high school. No, if you're not enjoying what you did during freshman year, change it up. Try something else. Something that you think you'll enjoy, and even if you don't like it in sophomore year, that's okay. You can change it in junior year too. Colleges will appreciate a lot more if you search around a lot for something you're actually passionate about and then eventually find it and really enjoy it. Colleges will appreciate that search so much more than if you stuck with something just because you felt you were obligated to. Volunteer. In my video on freshman year, I talked about researching volunteer opportunities early so that you could find volunteer opportunities that you'd actually enjoy doing, not just something random because you looked at the last minute and you signed up for all that you could. So I definitely recommend researching early, and sophomore year is when you can actually do the volunteering, which is really cool. And it doesn't have to be a huge commitment. It can be something like an hour every other weekend, something like that adds up over time and gets you a pretty good amount of volunteer hours for when you start applying to college. For me, that's not the kind of volunteering I did. I actually did a summer camp with my friend, and we got 36 hours from that. It was a week long and it was pretty easy, but if you have availability on the weekends, why not do it during sophomore year? Write down everything. I said this in the freshman year video, but in case you missed it, write down every single activity that you participate in, every club you join, how many hours per week you do those things, how many months out of the year, for example, like May through June, you do those things, every class you take, every award you get, literally anything. No matter how small it seems, write it down, because when you're applying to college senior year, this will help out so much. I speak from personal experience, as I did not do this, and I could have saved so much time had I written everything down when it was happening. And that was High School Planning to Get into College Part 2, Sophomore Year. Make sure you check back in for Parts 3 and 4, which will be Junior and Senior Year, which will be coming out in the next couple weeks. Also, make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!